Welcome to Waterfront Justice, where we share the most incredible stories of lakeside property battles and the sweet revenge that follows. Today's story features a marina takeover attempt, a ruthless yacht club president, and the most shocking waterfront property ownership reveal you'll ever hear. I'm Captain Jake Sullivan, a 42-year-old marine contractor from Lake Travis, Texas, and this is the story of how a power-hungry yacht club tried to steal my family's pier, not knowing that I owned the entire marina they called home. It all began 2 years ago when I inherited my grandfather's waterfront property on Lake Travis, one of the most prestigious boating destinations in Central Texas. Captain William Bill Sullivan had been a legendary figure on the lake since the 1960s. A former Navy submarine officer who'd built a successful marine construction business and owned prime lakefront real estate that became the foundation for Sullivan's Marina. Grandpa Bill's property was extraordinary. 12 acres of prime waterfront with deep water access, a natural harbor, and a 200-foot private pier that he'd built himself in 1973. The main house was a classic lake home with panoramic windows overlooking the water, and the property included a boathouse, workshop, and guest quarters that Grandpa had used for his marine construction operations. When Sullivan's Marina was developed around our family property in the 1980s, Grandpa Bill had maintained ownership of his original homestead while leasing additional waterfront to create the marina complex. The arrangement had worked perfectly for decades, generating steady income while preserving our family's connection to the lake. After inheriting the property, I moved into Grandpa's house and continued his tradition of marine contracting, specializing in dock construction, boat lifts, and waterfront improvements. The marina provided both a home base for my business and rental income from the boat slips and facilities that I'd inherited along with the main property. For the first year, everything was ideal. I maintained the property beautifully, upgraded the marina facilities, and enjoyed peaceful relationships with the boating community. The Lake Travis Yacht Club, located within the marina complex, had always been respectful of our family's ownership and grateful for the excellent facilities Grandpa Bill had provided. That all changed when Veronica Sterling became Yacht Club Commodore in April 2023. Veronica was the epitome of entitled yacht club royalty, a 52-year-old trust fund beneficiary whose late husband had made millions in oil speculation before dying in a helicopter crash. She lived on a massive estate overlooking the lake, owned a 65-foot Sunseeker yacht named Sterling Silver, and treated the yacht club like her personal kingdom. Veronica's campaign for Commodore had been built on promises to elevate club prestige and secure permanent facilities befitting our membership status. What she really meant was that she wanted to take control of waterfront property that didn't belong to her and transform it into her personal playground. Veronica's first act as Commodore was to announce a comprehensive marina improvement initiative that would completely redesign Sullivan's Marina according to her vision of luxury yachting standards. She developed elaborate plans without consulting me or acknowledging that I owned the property she wanted to redesign. I received my first official communication from Commodore Sterling on a Tuesday morning in May. Mr. Sullivan, the letter began, the Lake Travis Yacht Club Board has approved significant improvements to our marina facilities. As the current occupant of the marina property, you'll need to coordinate with our development team to ensure smooth implementation of these upgrades. The letter outlined plans that took my breath away: complete reconstruction of my grandfather's pier, demolition of the boathouse to make room for a yacht club pavilion, relocation of my workshop to accommodate expanded parking, and conversion of the guest quarters into yacht club administrative offices. She was proposing to destroy everything my grandfather had built and replace it with facilities designed exclusively for her yacht club members. I called Veronica immediately to clarify what seemed like an obvious misunderstanding. Mrs. Sterling, I think there's some confusion about property ownership here. This is my family's private property, not yacht club facilities. Veronica's response dripped with condescension. Mr. Sullivan, I understand this property has been in your family for years, but the yacht club has been the primary user of these facilities for decades. We're simply formalizing arrangements that should have been updated long ago. My family owns this property. The yacht club leases space within the marina, but the land, pier, and buildings belong to the Sullivan family. That's exactly the kind of outdated arrangement we need to modernize. The yacht club represents the interests of serious boaters who can afford to properly maintain and improve these facilities. I maintain these facilities perfectly well. They're my property and my responsibility. Veronica's tone turned icy. Mr. Sullivan, I don't think you understand the economic realities here. The yacht club generates significant revenue and property values for this area. Individual ownership of prime marina facilities is inefficient and prevents optimal utilization. Optimal for whom? For the boating community that actually uses and appreciates these facilities. Your little contracting business is charming, but this marina could serve much higher purposes under proper management. I hung up, stunned by her arrogance and her assumption that she could simply take over property that had been in my family for 60 years. Over the following weeks, Veronica's campaign to claim my property escalated dramatically. She began telling yacht club members that the marina ownership was in transition and that significant improvements would begin soon. She brought architects and contractors to tour my property without permission, always claiming she was consulting with stakeholders about community improvements. The harassment became more aggressive in June when Veronica started imposing yacht club rules on my private property. She posted signs restricting access to my pier, claiming it was now yacht club members only. She had my workshop boat lift blocked with yacht club vessels, saying the space was needed for member services. The final straw came on a Saturday morning in July when I arrived at my pier to find a yacht club event in full swing. Veronica had organized a Commodore's reception on my private dock, complete with catering, a bar, and 50 yacht club members drinking champagne on property she didn't own. When I approached to ask what was happening, Veronica acted like I was an unwelcome intruder. "Mr. Sullivan, this is a private yacht club function. We're using marina facilities for their intended purpose. This is my private pier on my private property. You can't host events here without permission. The yacht club has been using these facilities for years. We're simply making more efficient use of underutilized space." Several yacht club members were staring at us, clearly uncomfortable with the confrontation but unsure about the property ownership situation. "I need you and your guests to leave my property immediately." Veronica's face flushed red with anger. "Mr. Sullivan, you're embarrassing yourself and disrupting a legitimate yacht club function. These facilities exist to serve the boating community, not one person's selfish interests. These facilities exist because my grandfather built them on his own property with his own money. They're not community property." "We'll see about that," Veronica snapped. "The yacht club has lawyers who specialize in marina law and waterfront property rights. Your little family claim isn't going to stand up to serious legal scrutiny." That afternoon, I received a formal letter from Veronica's attorneys claiming that the yacht club had established prescriptive easements through decades of use and that my family's ownership claims were legally defective due to inadequate boundary surveys and improper waterfront jurisdiction filings. I'd had enough. That evening, I called Marcus Webb, the maritime attorney who'd handled Grandpa Bill's estate. "Jake," Marcus said after I explained the situation, "I think it's time we reviewed the complete scope of your inheritance. Your grandfather left you much more than just his house and pier." Marcus came to my property the next morning with several boxes of documents and maritime surveys that had been stored in his office vault. "When your grandfather established Sullivan's Marina in the 1980s, Marcus began, he didn't just lease out parts of his property. He created a complex ownership structure that gave him control over the entire marina operation while generating substantial income from multiple revenue streams. He spread out detailed marina surveys and property maps on my dining table. Your grandfather owned the original waterfront property, but over the years he also acquired ownership of the lake bottom, water rights, and what's called marina infrastructure development rights for this entire section of Lake Travis." Marcus pointed to various highlighted areas on the surveys. "Jake, you don't just own your house and pier. You own the marina slips, the boat launch ramps, the fuel dock, the yacht club building, and even the lake bottom where all these facilities are located." I stared at the documents, trying to process what he was telling me. "Are you saying I own the entire marina complex?" "Yes, but it's more complicated than simple ownership. The various businesses operating here, including the yacht club, have lease agreements with the Sullivan Family Trust. They pay rent for the use of marina facilities, boat slips, and waterfront access." Marcus showed me lease agreements I'd never seen before. The Lake Travis Yacht Club has been paying $4,500 per month to the Sullivan Trust since 1987 for their building, meeting facilities, and exclusive use of 12 premium boat slips. So Veronica has been paying me rent while trying to steal my property. Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting. The yacht club lease includes specific provisions about respect for property ownership and cooperation with marina management. Attempting to claim ownership of leased facilities is grounds for immediate lease termination. Marcus pulled out the yacht club's lease agreement and showed me the relevant section. "Look at Clause 18. Tenant acknowledges that all marina facilities remain the exclusive property of the lessor and agrees to respect property boundaries and ownership rights of marina management. Veronica's attempt to claim your pier and facilities is a direct violation of her lease terms. You have the legal right to evict the yacht club and reclaim their facilities. That afternoon, I walked through Sullivan's Marina with completely new eyes. The fuel dock where boats filled up, the boat launch where trailers backed into the water, the yacht club building where Veronica held her meetings, all of it was built on property I owned. More importantly, I realized that Veronica had been using her position as yacht club commodore to try to steal property from her own landlord. Over the following week, Marcus and I developed our strategy. We decided not to reveal the full scope of my marina ownership immediately. Instead, we'd start by asserting my rights as the marina owner and see how Veronica responded to having her authority challenged. Marcus drafted a letter that was a masterpiece of legal precision. Mrs. Sterling, we are writing regarding recent unauthorized activities on Sullivan Marina property, including trespassing, hosting events without permission, and false claims of ownership rights. After reviewing the yacht club's lease obligations, we must inform you that these actions constitute serious violations of your lease agreement with the Sullivan Family Trust. The letter went on to explain that as marina owner, I had exclusive rights to all facilities, and that attempts to claim ownership or control of leased property could result in immediate lease termination. We sent copies to every yacht club board member, the marina tenants, and Veronica's attorneys, along with relevant excerpts from the lease agreement and property ownership documents. Veronica's response was swift and predictable. Within hours, I received a furious phone call. Sullivan, I don't know what kind of legal nonsense your attorney is peddling, but the yacht club isn't intimidated by fabricated lease documents. We've been here for 37 years. Veronica, you've been paying rent here for 37 years. There's a difference between being a tenant and being an owner. That's ridiculous. The yacht club has established permanent rights through decades of use and improvement investment. You've been paying $4,500 per month for the privilege of using facilities that belong to the Sullivan family. Those payments constitute rent, not ownership investment. There was a long pause. You're bluffing. The yacht club owns our building and slips. Check your lease agreement, Veronica. Look at your monthly payment records. You'll find 37 years of rent payments to the Sullivan Trust. Another pause. Even if some lease exists, it doesn't give you the right to interfere with yacht club operations. It gives me the right to control my own property and evict tenants who violate their lease terms by trying to steal what they're renting. She hung up, but I knew she'd be scrambling to review her lease documents and understand the legal reality of her situation. The next yacht club board meeting was called as an emergency session, with a special agenda to address false property claims and protect club facilities from hostile takeover attempts. Veronica had decided to make this a public battle. I arrived at the meeting with Marcus and a briefcase full of documents. The yacht club meeting room was packed with members who'd heard rumors about a major property dispute with the marina owner. Veronica opened the meeting with a dramatic presentation about frivolous legal challenges and attempts to undermine legitimate yacht club operations through intimidation. Mr. Sullivan has made outrageous claims about owning facilities that the yacht club has operated for nearly 4 decades, Veronica declared. Tonight, we're going to expose these lies and demonstrate our commitment to protecting member interests. When Marcus requested permission for me to address the club, Veronica tried to refuse, claiming it was a private meeting for members only. Mrs. Sterling, Marcus replied, my client has the legal right to address tenants regarding lease violations and property use issues. Refusing to allow the property owner to speak could constitute additional lease violations. Faced with the threat of immediate legal action, Veronica was forced to allow me to speak. What followed was 15 minutes of the most comprehensive property ownership education I've ever delivered. I began by projecting detailed marina surveys showing the complete scope of Sullivan family ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to clarify some misconceptions about property ownership at Sullivan's Marina. The surveys showed the 12-acre complex with all facilities clearly marked as Sullivan family property. My grandfather, Captain William Sullivan, established this marina in the 1980s after owning the original waterfront property since 1963. Every building, every dock, every boat slip, and even the lake bottom where they're located belongs to the Sullivan Family Trust. I could see confusion spreading through the crowd as members realized they'd been paying slip fees to someone other than the yacht club. The Lake Travis Yacht Club operates here as a tenant, paying monthly rent for your building, meeting facilities, and exclusive access to 12 premium boat slips. You've been paying this rent faithfully for 37 years. Veronica stood up, her face red with rage. This is preposterous. The yacht club has invested millions in improvements and operations here. Mrs. Sterling, you've been paying rent here, not making ownership investments. Every improvement you've made was done with the permission of the property owner and becomes part of the leased facilities. Marcus stood up and began distributing copies of the yacht club lease to board members. Every yacht club member can verify this information by reviewing their slip rental agreements and club financial records. The monthly fees you pay include rent to the Sullivan Trust for facility usage. The meeting erupted in shocked conversation as members began calling their attorneys and accountants to verify the lease arrangements they'd apparently never fully understood. Veronica tried to restore order, claiming that technical lease arrangements didn't affect the yacht club's established rights to the facilities. Finally, Dr. Robert Hayes, a retired professor who'd been a yacht club member since 1995, stood up and called for quiet. Jake, if what you're saying is true, what does this mean for our club operations and member investments? It was the perfect question. Dr. Hayes, this doesn't affect your club operations at all. The yacht club has been an excellent tenant for nearly 4 decades, and I have no intention of disrupting that relationship. I looked directly at Veronica. However, the lease agreement does include specific terms about respecting property ownership and cooperating with Marina management. Attempting to claim ownership of leased facilities violates these terms. Margaret Foster, the yacht club treasurer, raised her hand. What about our monthly dues and slip fees? Where does that money actually go? Your dues cover yacht club operations, social activities, and maintenance costs, I explained. But about $4,500 per month goes to the Sullivan Trust as facility rent, plus individual slip fees for members who dock here. Marcus added, the yacht club's financial records should clearly show these payments to the Sullivan Family Trust. It's been a standard business expense for 37 years. Veronica made one final desperate attempt to maintain control. Even if these lease arrangements exist, the yacht club has established permanent rights through continuous use and improvement. Actually, Mrs. Sterling, Marcus replied, attempting to claim ownership of leased property is called adverse possession, and it's specifically prohibited under your lease terms. More importantly, your recent actions constitute harassment of the property owner and unauthorized use of facilities. He pulled out photographs of Veronica's unauthorized party on my pier. Hosting events on private property without permission, blocking access to the owner's facilities, and making false ownership claims are all grounds for immediate lease termination. The implication was clear. Veronica's behavior could result in the yacht club being evicted from the marina entirely. The meeting ended with the yacht club board voting to suspend all facility improvement plans pending a complete legal review. Veronica stormed out without speaking to anyone, her authority completely undermined. Over the next week, the marina buzzed with activity as yacht club members processed the revelation about property ownership. Slip rental agreements remained unchanged. Members had always been paying the Sullivan Trust through the yacht club, so nothing affected their boat access. The real question was what would happen with Veronica's leadership. She tried to maintain her position, but her credibility was destroyed. She'd spent months trying to steal property from the person who'd been collecting her rent checks. The resolution came exactly 10 days after the yacht club meeting. I received a certified letter from Veronica's attorney, informing me that she was resigning as Commodore and requesting that the Sullivan Trust not pursue lease termination proceedings. The letter included a formal apology for the misunderstanding regarding property ownership and a commitment that all unauthorized activities would cease immediately. I was happy to accept her resignation without pursuing legal action. I'd never wanted to destroy the yacht club, I just wanted respect for my family's property rights. The club held emergency elections, and Dr. Hayes was chosen as the new Commodore. The new leadership immediately established a cooperative relationship with Sullivan's Marina, creating clear protocols for facility use and event planning. Today, Sullivan's Marina continues to thrive under the partnership between family ownership and yacht club operations. The marina has expanded to include additional slips and facilities, generating increased revenue while maintaining the high-quality boating experience that attracts members from throughout Central Texas. My marine contracting business benefits from the steady income and excellent facilities that Grandpa Bill's vision created. The yacht club operates successfully within the lease framework that's worked for nearly 4 decades. Veronica Sterling learned the hard way that entitlement and arrogance can backfire spectacularly when you target the wrong property owner. She thought she was dealing with just another marina tenant who could be bullied into surrendering valuable waterfront facilities. Instead, she'd been trying to steal property from her own landlord, someone with the legal authority to evict her entire organization. The experience taught me valuable lessons about understanding your inheritance and the importance of asserting property rights when they're challenged. Grandpa Bill had created a brilliant business model that provided steady income while maintaining family control over prime lakefront property. Today, when new yacht club members join, they're fully informed about the marina's ownership structure and lease arrangements from the beginning. There are no surprises, no hidden ownership claims, and no more Commodores who think they can take over property they've been renting. The pier that Veronica tried to claim as yacht club property still extends 200 feet into Lake Travis, exactly as Grandpa Bill built it in 1973. It's marked with a sign that reads Sullivan Family Pier, Private Property, estimated 1963. And Veronica. She sold her yacht and moved to a marina in Florida where she can't harass other boaters because she has no authority over anyone. Hopefully, she learned that assuming you own facilities just because you use them can be a very expensive mistake. Sometimes the best way to deal with entitled bullies isn't to fight them directly. It's to simply reveal who actually owns the property they're trying to steal. Veronica spent months planning to take over a marina owned by the person who'd been cashing her rent checks for years. The irony was perfect, and the justice was exactly what she deserved.